All right. God, sorry. I tried to. I was about to do the intro and then
Choke.
swallowed me. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 159th episode of the Poorly Planned Podcast. My name is Benedict. You may know me better as BHL Hudson. Here we talk about movies, TV shows, a bunch of nonsense. With me, as always, is my friend, co-host, and a visiting buddy. Well, previously visiting, now not visiting. But
exactly. We were once together in person.
Momentarily Cork visiting buddy, Frederick. Ooh. And I guess we have officially revealed, it's been leaked via the Instagram stories, that I am in fact in Cork, Ireland. Yeah, we kept that one a good secret for a while, but I guess you just have to.
Honestly, I revealed many things when I went to Cork.
You did. Well, we'll get to that, but yeah. Now I'm gonna get papped when I leave the house.
I'm gonna get papped when I leave the house.
I say as if I live in a house, but yeah,
I say. I like how that's the surprising part. I say as if I've got a home.
I'm definitely gonna get papped, but I also live in a park bench. But yeah, you came to visit me like the gentleman you are, and it was just, if I do say so myself, the best of times. It was great.
It was such a good time.
I got nothing bad to say.
Me neither.
Well, I have one bad thing to say.
There's the one.
The incident of, we were just having the greatest of nights out. Can I just say, yeah, we don't have to go into too much detail. There was a post on your Instagram that included a little video, but we were just in the pub singing along to the live music, having some drink. It was the ultimate bro time.
It was so good.
And then later in the night, we met up with a few of my friends, and it was also just a great time. But then you did in fact drop the bomb of the Poorly Planned Podcast on them, which I worked so diligently to have them not discover.
Now, in my defense, I think that is something I have to be told beforehand. You know that I will blurt out the pod to any person given the chance.
The thing is, though, because the way we were talking about tattoos, and you're like, yeah, I was going to get a tattoo of, like, this thing, like, in runes. And so I was like, oh, okay, he knows. He's not supposed to mention the pod. And then afterwards, you're like, yeah, it's our podcast. That's what I was going to get tattooed. And I was like, oh. And they were like, oh, you have a podcast, do you now?
Yeah, and then they looked at you as if they were about to devour a little lamb.
And I haven't heard from them since. It's crazy. They blocked me and changed their locks.
They blocked me immediately and legally changed names and addresses. They cannot be associated.
But besides the pod, once again, infiltrating our actual lives, unfortunately, just a wonderful time. Just had the best time.
Great time.
With my
Showed
boy.
me around Cork, a beautiful city, may I add.
You were a big fan, yeah. I appreciate the love. More than I am. No, it is a lovely place. We went to the movies, had a little Woody's, had some Nando's, your first ever Nando's.
It was a good time.
It was fantastic.
We played ping pong. Not the best of times in terms of friendship.
Well, yeah, we do get some, maybe more than others, a little competitive and intense when we play games like ping pong. But in my defense,
do you say some maybe more than others?
Sorry, in whoever's defense, some others of us act like huge dickholes when we play. But also, yeah, so I don't know if I'd rather be the cocky asshole or the stewing angry little man, but I have found my role. Anyway, topic for another day.
I think it's very obvious who's taken which role.
It did get a little heated there a couple of times we were playing ping pong. In my defense, though, fuck you. You know, I'd like to say that before we played this set of games, I won the last game we played. Just putting that out there.
That's like how you say, oh yeah, Brazil are the World Cup champions. They won in 1996.
You know what? Maybe. Ooh, here's a really big challenge, a daunting one. Maybe for the ultimate ping pong prize, episode 200. We hit the new manliness competition, and this one just for the public to see, for everyone to know. For the public to see.
You know what?
I'll say
this much. I'm not worried.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the one who lost, so like I don't know why I'm throwing this down as if this would have any effect. But yeah. Anyway, it was a bloody lovely time. So thank you for visiting. And
I'll be coming back very soon.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, that is.
Yeah, I'm actually still here.
I'm just sitting downstairs in the lobby.
Well, today, it's been a minute. I thought we would hit
been.
some mini... dies mid-sentence.
That's a stroke.
That was horrible, sorry. Some mini reviews.
It's been a while. I thought we would hit some...
collapses, blood clot in brain. That's kind of a dark detail to add, sorry.
Blood clot in penis.
There we go. Hilarious. We saved it. So anyway, we're going to be talking some of the movies that we've watched in the past little while. I don't really know what's the thumbnail material here. Maybe She-Hulk. That wrapped up. But yeah, and then we're gonna be talking Don't Worry Darling, Amsterdam, She-Hulk, other things that you've seen. But yeah, should be a good time. And then maybe next week we hit a little bit of news, or maybe next week's House of the Dragon. Who knows? Yeah, we're not talking House of the Dragon this time. Sorry, guys. We're both behind a little bit.
Sorry, gang.
But shall we just get into this? And I would like to start, personally, with Don't Worry Darling, which is a film I saw. It's the new... Olivia Wilde directed, I think, but
I believe you're correct.
Most well known for the infamous Chris Pine sensual spit take on Harry Styles. Or no, sorry, the Harry Styles.
The Harry Styles.
It is. So we talked about all the behind the scenes drama. Putting that aside.
Also, don't spoil too much here. But
okay.
Go on.
Okay. Are you interested in watching this?
Not really, but I'm going to be watching it in the coming week.
Oh.
So.
Okay. Well, there are two main moments I want to talk about, and neither of them count as spoilers, so I'm still going to tell you. But
then please.
Basically, just overall review of the movie. I didn't hate it, but it has its flaws. I think
one being Harry Styles' acting.
Well, yeah, definitely, and I did see it with some Harry Styles mega fans. So afterwards, I was like, I can't be too harsh. But then they were like, yeah, he wasn't very good. I was like, oh yeah, no, glad we can agree. It was almost as good as his portrayal of Eros in The Eternals. I don't know if that's his character's name. We've talked about it before. I especially like those horror movies and thrillers where like there's something kind of off and then it like builds and builds. And this is that, but then it just is really badly paced where there isn't like kind of a, like Get Out is the example I usually use. Like you can tell something's wrong. There's a bit of a build up. There are reveals along the way and you're piecing it together. It's great. This one, it's just like immediately off the bat, it's like everything's fucked. Like this place is crazy and bad. And then it's just kind of like repetitively stuck in that for about like an hour. And then it gets to like the final reveal, which I thought was actually kind of interesting, which we can talk about when you've seen it. But yeah, anyway, the two moments that I want to talk about, one is, and you'll appreciate both of them when you see the movie. One is, in fact, the Harry dance, which is when Harry Styles is...
It has nothing to do with Harry Styles. It's just Chris Pine's very hairy body.
When Harry Styles gets up on a stage and he does the most insane dance I've ever seen. He's just like flopping all over the place. And I can't tell, like it's supposed to be kind of like a 1950s style world. I'm like, is this a dance they did back then? Is this just is this his signature dance?
Is this a Harry Styles concoction?
Genuinely the worst dance I've ever seen in my life. Look out for that.
Interesting.
And then also...
Is that including the Milo dance sequence?
Yeah, that's the hottest dancing I've ever seen.
Well, the two ends of the spectrum there.
Two sides of the same coin, one could say. And then also it's when like the ultimate reveal of the movie happens, like thinking back on it, it's not like a nutty moment at all, but just in the moment where like it's supposed to be like weird and mysterious and you don't know what's happening, there's just the most horribly nutty Pine moment where it's supposed to be like weird, and it just made me laugh though because it was so weirdly executed. But basically Harry Styles and Florence Pugh, they're like, let's go have sex in Chris Pine's office, wouldn't that be really hot? And then they go do that, and then Florence just looks over and Pine just be lurking in the corner just watching, and they make just horrible eye contact and it's sort of like this weird moment, and then he just leaves, and then you're like, huh. So that was...
You're like, damn, Pine, you're a bit of a creepy boy.
It was just the way it was shot. I'm just like, especially because, I think the audience, a lot of it's like Harry Styles fans, so it's like, oh my god, it's the Harry sex scene, like, how erotic. And then just pine
How
being
truly
there.
sensual. And then there's just a pine just completely
That's the definition of a peeping pine. So anyway, not a great movie, but had some interesting ideas in it. Worth discussing when you've seen it, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are my thoughts.
All right. Gotcha. Let's see here. I can't actually remember the last time we did the mini review, so I don't know what I've seen and what I haven't seen. Have I reviewed Smile?
You've not. No.
I have not. Interesting. Well, I did in fact go to see Smile in the cinema. New horror movie. And I gave it a higher score in Letterboxd than I should have, looking back now, because it is a very strange movie. It starts off, honestly, the first half of it, whilst I didn't love it, it wasn't terrible. There was some good jump scares. It was decently scary, still kind of mysterious. And then the second half was just, it was just awful. Genuinely just, I don't know. Terrible ending. I mean, are you going to watch it? Do you mind if I spoil Smile for you?
I will say, for whatever reason, because this is a thing I do sometimes with horror movies that I'm not going to see, I have read the whole Wikipedia synopsis, so I know exactly what happens.
Oh, okay.
As a normal boy would do.
As any sane man does.
So yeah, you can...
You were reading the Wikipedia, Chris Pine was also in the corner of your room?
It was... Neither of them were very spooky. Both.
One of them was very spooky.
Kind of hot. But yeah, no, go for it, yeah.
All right, well, yeah, so, I mean, as you know, it is there's some evil entity that makes a person kill themselves, and then whoever witnesses that suicide then has, is it a 7-day time period or something until they kill themselves? Kind of like this evil entity, kind of, that's the plot of it. And people, whenever you end up doing it, you're smiling like a crazed person. It is what it is. Main character, genuinely so unlikable, makes so many stupid decisions, and also just didn't really like her. Everyone in the cinema I was watching it with, not everyone in the cinema, but my friend group who I was watching it with, when we left, were like, God, she was just, nah. And the ending so it basically ends, again, spoiler for anyone who is going to watch Smile. Don't recommend it, but, it just ends setting up a sequel. There's this long period of time, which honestly was a little bit predictable, where she kind of tries to take this, her grand plan is to go away from everybody, because the only way that the kind of curse is passed on is if someone witnesses you commit suicide. And if she's if I'm not close to any people, then that won't happen, and I can just it'll fade, or I can battle it myself. And then there's a 30-minute sequence where it's her battling it, and she thinks she's won and something like that, and there's huge time skips, and then all of a sudden it's revealed that was just in her head, and then she ends up actually putting herself on fire. And then her love interest is sees it and sets up a sequel, and boom. Not amazing.
I feel like, having not seen it, but having read the Wikipedia synopsis, I don't know, do you think it lends itself to a sequel, this kind of idea? Because it's sort of...
not really.
Creepy
it's
smiling. That's kind of a one movie scare. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't
even know if there will be a sequel, but it definitely was left very.
It felt
open-ended,
they were trying to.
Yeah. No, definitely. I will say, by far my highlight of the movie, and I am a bit of a scaredy cat, as people know. I jump at jump scares and stuff like that, but otherwise, I kind of sat there and just kind of was a little bit bored throughout the movie. However, the highlight of the movie was definitely A-Train, or the actor A-Train, who plays the main character's fiance, I want to say, and he is just so incredibly not with her shit all the time. He's like, what are you doing here? Being Jay, bit of a bastard in a way, but also just not taking her seriously whatsoever, which in fairness, she does act like a crazy person and is very unlikable in it. But it's just kind of weird seeing A-Train also very badly acted throughout this thing.
No.
There's a lot of kind of Rocky Creed moments, yo moments where she's and there's also a weird moment that kind of made me laugh where it's she basically without knowing it, she kills her cat and gifts it to her nephew in a box for his birthday.
Yeah.
Kind of dark. And then it just cuts to A-Train sitting, looking disappointed, looking at the ground. And it just made me laugh a lot. He's just like, God damn it.
Mild annoyance. You'd killed the cat again.
You killed the cat. What the
Son
hell?
of a bitch.
But yeah, overall, not a great movie. Didn't love it.
All right, kind of a mid-stinker. I mean, to be fair, it looked...
Mid-stinky.
I think it had a really good marketing campaign, not just the... Do you see, like, they had people go out to, like, sports games and stuff and, like, stand with the creepy smile, which is kind of interesting, but also just, like...
Oh, I did not see that.
It's sort of fun. And, like, also I thought the trailer was very... These, like, kind of simple premise horror movies where it's, like, creepy smiles sort of thing. They can have quite effective marketing, but I'm not surprised it was kind of... bit of a middle-of-the-road horror kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll also say a part of what made it a good like first half was that the whole like smile thing, or like the entity that made people smile, was very like mysterious and like you know, kind of like it didn't have a body to like put to the like horror. And at the end, it just turns into like her mom, who's like her mom that killed herself or tried to kill herself when she was like a lot younger, just like elongated, and it just looks so weirdly stupid. It's just like a weird Slender Man thing that just makes everything way less scary.
Yeah, that can happen a lot in these sort of these like demon entity horror movies where the mystery of it and also what it like causes for people can be much scarier than when they reveal it. It's sort of, there was a little bit of that with it, I feel, in a different way, where I don't know, once they start showing Pennywise a lot more, and once you like start getting like all of his visions are kind of the same, and sort of like it's less creepy than when it's a little more mysterious.
Exactly.
Fair enough. I wasn't gonna see it, still won't.
This has not changed my mind.
Now, a film that I had to, and I have a bunch here that I had to watch for film class that I'm gonna maybe save for another time to speed around, because like there's interesting analysis to be had, but nothing too pod worthy. However, absolutely pod worthy. A film I had to watch for my Irish film class, but I genuinely maybe one of my favorite films I've ever seen. In Bruges. I'd heard of this. I'd heard it's really good. I had no idea what it was. It's from Martin McDonagh, who did 3 Billboards, and he's got the new movie coming out, The Banshees of Inisherin, I want to say. But this was kind of the movie that put him on the map, and it is like it's rare that I will like guarantee you'll love a movie, but like I 100% guarantee you will love this movie. Like, just knowing our sense of humor, knowing what kind of movies we like, I genuinely can see this being one of your favorite movies. I'm not even kidding. You have to watch In Bruges. It's basically Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell are 2 hitmen who have just done a job, and they have to hide out in the town of Bruges in Belgium. And just it's just so good. It's just because it's so like, it's like kind of a fun, you know, it's one of those movies kind of like Get Out. I've referenced that twice now, but in a very different way, where like we like it because we sort of like to joke about it and sort of funny, but also it's just a great film on its own. Like it's one of those where like we would have a lot of fun watching it, but also watching it alone.
Also, just a great movie on its own.
Yeah, it has like it's just like really funny banter and sort of like dialogue and all that stuff. But then also it's quite like a dark comedy, so it has a lot of quite dark themes and quite emotional moments and stuff, and it's just extremely well made and just so funny. And like genuinely, this doesn't happen very often, but I was just like walking like down the street or like to class or something, and I just started cracking up thinking about like some moments in this movie. It's truly I don't want to like say too much because I don't want to spoil it for you, but there are 2 moments in particular involving the Farrell. One involving karate and one involving a bottle, and you can just look out for those because I think you'll notice them. They're just,
I'll keep those. I'll keep that in memory. But
they're so enjoyable. But yeah, really fantastic film. And again, I guess it's not a spoiler because he's one of the stars of it, but I won't say who. But there is also just a surprise final act appearance of a certain actor that just adds even more nuttery somehow. It's genuinely such like a hilarious but also really powerful movie. I cannot recommend it enough to anyone, but especially to you I really think you'd love it.
I will try and get it watched this week.
Okay, good. Yeah, just the greatest feral performance you will ever see. Up there with the Coachman.
Up there with the Coachman.
I know, big
which
claim.
is cinema peak.
But yeah, so anyway, in Bruges, and also, it's funny, when I wrote my review on Letterboxd, 5 stars, by the way, Cian did say that I finally understand his Twitter handle, and I checked it, and I never realized, but his Twitter handle is Cian Bruges, which is just a classic whimsical prank.
Classic Cian moment.
So yeah, anyway, that's that. Go for it. Thank you, Film
I'll
Class.
definitely give it a watch.
For giving me
Absolutely.
a good-ass movie.
All right. I did, in fact, watch on the way to and from Cork. I downloaded a few episodes of Dahmer.
Oh, I thought you'd already watched that.
No, only the first episode and a half.
Oh, damn. I really put that in the thumbnail for only a 1 episode and a half review.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I've watched 4 episodes of it now, and still a very good show. I think a very, very good, what's his name? The actor.
Evan Peters.
Big Peters moment. He's actually very, very good as Dahmer, and I don't know, adds a lot of, I mean, you can't really give the man depth based on what he's done, but like it's he portrays him very, very well. It gives a little more context to everything that's happened, and he plays it very well. Freaking just so gross in some of the ways that happens in the show, but like I won't again, not really a spoiler, and something that probably should not be laughed at. Not a terrible thing, but it did make me chuckle in the plane when Evan Peters masturbates to the thought of fish guts. It's
a horrible sentence.
Something that factually happens in the show. He's sitting there with like a bunch of Playboy magazines and stuff like that, and it's just not doing it for him. And then it just cuts back to him like filleting a fish, and it's just like, oh
God.
A very weird Peters moment. But otherwise, the show is very good. The kind of like pacing of it, or like the way they're doing it, is like kind of cutting back between present day, like him being like in the interrogation room, and then like cutting back to like he was in the army, before the army, and like the different like murders he did, and like just kind of like how it progressed from him being like, from the first murder he did, there was like a 9-year gap, which I did not realize, like I didn't know about, and then he was kind of like, I was being a good boy, and then it just, then like, you know, he gets further and further into like the kind of like strange bits of what he did. But overall, very good.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. Well, I think we should maybe hit our most recent Woody film, which we did in fact see in Cork. And again, for those unfamiliar, Woody's is our movie watching tradition where we get food and then go see a movie. It's not much of a tradition. It's just kind of a thing we do, but it's kind of fucking epic.
But it is possibly my favorite thing to do ever.
Honestly. And genuine tragedy, I thought we were going to be able to see the latest Dwayne Johnson superhero film, which would have been great for potting as well. Imagine that thumbnail.
I'm going to watch that today.
Oh, fuck you. We were supposed to go see Black Adam, but it did come out a little bit too late for us to go see, and I'm now having an extremely difficult time convincing people to go see it with me, which is very unfortunate, because like,
is this gonna be a Princess Diana?
No, I definitely can't Diana this movie. That's an unacceptable idea. But it's funny because I have like at least 3 groups of people who I've tried to convince, and like one of them, she like told me like, yeah, no, I hate superhero movies. One of the first conversations we had, and I was like, okay, so that's probably not gonna work. Then the other ones are the Harry Styles fans who, like, I probably would go see it, but also I feel like not really up their alley exactly.
I like how you label them as the Harry Styles fans group.
Just for the context of this pod, since we talked about Don't Worry, Darling. And then the third group is like my film class friends, who again, I think I'm probably going to end up seeing it with a couple of them, but also some of them kind of turn their nose up a little bit at, I mean, not even just turn their nose up at superhero movies, but they were just like, yeah, it looks kind of shit. And I was like, yeah, no, I can't say it doesn't, but it's It's Dwayne, you know?
But it's Dwayne.
It's Dwayne. So anyway, I'm having a very big conundrum with that, but we'll hopefully...
A big dilemma you got there.
Hopefully. I might be seeing it tomorrow, hopefully, but we'll see. But anyway, so we did have to see Amsterdam instead. The shittiest replacement film for a Dwayne movie.
A brilliant replacement to any Dwayne movie.
Put an Amsterdam in the thumbnail? Fuck. What a fucking waste.
This thumbnail is going to be awful.
But anyway, yeah. I was really excited for this movie, and then it came out and it got really shitty reviews, which was kind of unfortunate, but I was still a little hyped to see it based on, big cast. Based on David O. Russell, he's made some good things. Although apparently...
There's a white man in a box. Not even a casket.
You got a white man in a box. Not even a casket. Doesn't even have a top on it.
You have genuine sorrow in your voice there.
Not even
a casket.
Yeah. What did you think of Amsterdam?
Well, I thought it was a very strange movie. Like, I mean, again, I must confess, doze off for like 5 minutes during the movie. The Nando's kind of metabolized and hit me like a brick wall out of nowhere. But I think even if I hadn't fallen asleep for a little bit, I still had a lot of just trouble following what was going on. It was very all over the place, I thought. Beginning is fine. Middle part is so strange, I think. And then the ending is decent. However, we just kind of cracked up laughing towards the end. It didn't really take much of it seriously.
Yeah. I'm in a similar boat. I mean, I don't think it's as bad as people were saying. I saw it getting one of the worst movies of the year, and it's not one of the worst movies of the year, but
no,
it is definitely a big waste of talent and potential. I think, and also a waste of 2 hours of my life. But because I've seen some takes on Twitter that were kind of especially you remember the scene where Margot Robbie imagines shooting or whatever, and it's whatever. A lot of takes on that scene where it's it's just terribly edited, it's terribly staged, and also I saw a tweet that was this is a masterclass in how to poorly direct good actors, and I kind of get that because besides Bale, who puts in I'd say a pretty great performance, everyone else
Bale is pretty good in this. I won't lie.
Everyone else is really kind of one note and doesn't feel like. It another thing I saw, it has very high school play energy, and I think that might be the dialogue, or it has this such a self-important vibe to it of aren't we clever, aren't we? It feels like a high school play that you'd kind of roll your eyes at a little bit.
There's also just some moments of extremely long dialogue sessions where it's I remember in the part that I dozed off and where they're talking to Rami Malek and they went to his house, they're having a long convo about stuff that's happening. I remember I fell asleep for a little bit, actually, and I woke up and the same conversation was still going on. I was like, really? What's going on here?
Yeah, no, that the whole... I agree with the middle part. Everything in and around Rami Malek's house and that whole plot, very kind of uninteresting. I don't know. It was just it had some funny moments and some fun ideas and some interesting... I can't even say it was too complicated because I kept just explaining what was happening, but it still felt like it had too much going on. It still felt like it had... And that's the thing. The dialogue was so obvious. The characters just kept saying what was happening in the thing, which I guess made it easier to follow, but also it was still messy and had too much shit going on. And it was just... Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, the more I talk about it, the less I... I came out of it and I think I said it was fine. It was okay. But what a what are
a bit of a mess,
kind of rambly, aren't we clever sort of vibe to it.
Yeah. As you said, there were some funny moments. There was Bale being high at the end, just it gave me heavy American Psycho vibes of the zoomed in shots of him sweating, just oh my god.
And Bale just trying to process what the fuck is happening. That's how I felt watching the movie, honestly. That was my face watching the entire
Bale trying to process what's happening.
Yeah, and there were a couple of Bale falls that were kind of funny, which is kind of the lowest form of comedy, but I don't know. Tons of talented actors and just a very nothing Yeah, and like great sets and great costumes and just a very like wet fart of a movie, you know?
Yeah. Also, can we just say what a strangely stupid plan from like the villains at the end to get De Niro to read a speech he obviously does not agree with.
Well, that's the thing. Also, there was they spend so much time. Spoilers, I guess. Who cares? They spend so much time like building up to this De Niro speech moment, and it's like you know what's gonna happen. Like,
yeah, like of course he's not gonna say it.
Yeah, like what if the movie ended with De Niro like becoming a Nazi, basically?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel like a fever dream, but it definitely felt like a rough cut of an edit or something. Like, like there were definitely things you would like if you read that script. I say as if I know fucking anything about movie making, but if that script got put on my desk,
I certainly would not enjoy reading it.
but I feel like you would be like, okay, solid ideas. Let's
let's change 90% of it.
Let's like fix it up. Like it feels like a first draft a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway,
yeah,
that's from the two 20-year-old college students shitting on the acclaimed award-winning director. But he had a stinker. What can we say?
Yeah, won't lie. Man had a stinker.
So yeah. Anyway, also, if we do maybe one more each, we could also hit a little bit of newsum because we do actually have a couple of newsums that I like here.
Bit of newsum, okay.
Because I got She-Hulk, and then that's it.
I mean, I'll say two things. I've got just a very quick. I've been watching a lot of The Office, just kind of rewatching. Very enjoyable. On season 7 now, just great time. And then, if you will, cue the intro. Boom. I have been watching the newest Chainsaw Man that's been coming out. Which sounds stupid.
I've seen this. I've seen the poster or whatever. He just has he's just like a chainsaw man. It's very literal.
Yeah. It's not a joke here. He is just a man who can turn into a chainsaw. However, the way it's done and the backstory behind it, and also like the animation, so good. So good. It's like it's a very, very like acclaimed manga, and it's been like very hyped coming to become an anime, and the first 2 episodes I've seen, bloody brilliant, so good. Like and like the main character, like it's not exactly a heavy or deep anime, which sometimes is just nice and refreshing. Like the main character's motivation is to like feel boobs or something like that. He's like
a relatable
because
tale.
he's like this homeless guy who's never talked to girls and stuff like that, and then he like suddenly gets this like he becomes like half demon, half human. He's like starts working for this agency. He's like, oh, now I need to have a goal in life. It's to touch some boobs. So, just like a silly, delightful time. Fantastic. Doesn't take itself very seriously, but at the same time is very good. So I enjoy.
Right. Let's go. Well, speaking of silly shows, we do in fact finally have the conclusion several weeks ago of She-Hulk, which I did upload today, a little BHL review of.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, I'll give a little overall thing, but the main thing we got to talk about is, of course, also, sorry, can we, the beard scratches, sorry, can we just...
Oh, damn it, I keep forgetting.
Yeah, that's okay. I can just...
So you're scratching your beard again?
Because the thing is, I can't hear it now, but I know I'll hear it in the recording, and I just see you just stroking the chin, which is a magnificent look, and you're really just pondering something, but I can just imagine future BHL having to edit out that thing and just absolutely raging ping pong style.
But the 2 moments that our friendship is put to the test is during ping pong and beard
scratches. But I was thinking the main thing we got to hit on here, and I don't know if you've seen the episodes. I think you said you've seen the clips. The return. I guess he already returned in No Way Home, but the extra return of Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock. Daredevil. The
revival, one could say.
The revival. He's born again, one could say. Dad. Sorry.
Freaking got him.
But yeah, She-Hulk overall, I thought it was a very strange one to review because it's like has a lot objectively wrong with it. Like it has like some really bad, objectively whatever, but it has like some bad CGI. It has some really bad writing, some weird pacing, some really like just corny, unfunny moments, and like
yeah.
But also it's just it has a charm to it that I just enjoyed. Like I enjoyed watching it week to week. It just like I think it's helped by Tatiana Maslany being really charismatic in the main role, and also just sort of like the goofy silliness of it. Just the fact that like you don't really know what's going to come next, and it's sort of, even though it's not good all the time, at least it's kind of like, I don't know, it's interesting. I don't know. It was a very weird one to like rate, but I found it to be generally kind of entertaining. I'd put it up there above something like Hawkeye or whatever I watched of Ms. Marvel as like.
Would you say Falcon and Winter Soldier or She-Hulk?
Probably She-Hulk, honestly. Again, even though Falcon and Winter Soldier is definitely
hot
better.
Take here.
It's definitely like better made, but like I don't know. I feel like I was trying to make myself like Falcon and Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? Where this one, it just kind of crept up me. I was like,
yeah. I mean, I guess you kind of like walked in being like, oh, I have to watch She-Hulk, and you're like, you know what?
Yeah,
I will watch She-Hulk.
Yeah, I kept like
decent time.
There kept being moments where I was like, this is not great. But then whenever it was whatever it was, like Monday or Tuesday, I was like, ooh, there's a new She-Hulk. Let's go.
Giddy with excitement. Ooh,
should we talk Matt Murdock's return? Which, for
let's
the
talk
record,
Matt Murdock.
I think was surprisingly good. I was
like,
very.
Again, I haven't seen the full episodes, but like I kind of like seen parts of it and like kind of put everything into context of that. So he shows up in court, kind of like being the defendant, yes, or like.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Should I describe it having actually seen the show? You
probably.
Just guess your way
Probably
to. So I think the first scene, they have sex, and then.
Then he said his ass remained unwhooped or something.
Yeah. So he basically set up this plot line where she has to do like she's suing this guy, and she's basically like defending this idiot, and then he comes in to defend the guy she's suing, and he sort of like outwits her in a way in the courtroom, you know, Matt Murdock lawyer sense, but not in a way where it's like, look, he's so much better than her, just in a way that like, just like the Matt Murdock, he's got the ways about him, and then they have like a little flirtation, then she meets him as Daredevil, they go do a little mission, and then they absolutely get it on. Cox gets that.
Get it on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah. There's some Cox reference that I could make there, but you know what? I'm a classy man. I'm not going to make it.
Cox reveals his Daredevil.
All right, well, that's not at all the pun. I was like, Cox, you know, you could do something, you know, that's a slang term for something. You're like, the Daredussy. That's what he reveals. I was like, no, that's not what I was going for. But good guess. But anyway, I thought it was very good because, like I kind of said in my review, if you're gonna bring Matt Murdock into the larger MCU, which they're gonna do, you have to like make him a little bit different. He can't be the exact same way he was in his own show, because it's just completely like it wouldn't mesh the tone at all. And so they made him like silly enough and kind of like quippy and goofy enough, but he still had like
the Daredevil charm.
He still had the Daredevil, like, yeah, they didn't change him completely. They just sort of turned up some of what was already there. Because you remember, especially in like Defenders, he had some quips, he had some little smiley moments.
Yeah.
And
he was
then
quirky boy.
And they also he also made the show a little bit more realistic for that one episode. Like when they have like a kind of flirtatious scene in a bar. I think that's one of the best scenes in the whole show because like it actually feels, I don't know, like a well-written scene. And I was saying in my video, like, it didn't necessarily have to be Matt, but I think if they had a character like him throughout the whole show, it could have kind of grounded it a bit more and made it less, like, haphazard and kind of like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, if they... That episode was actually just really well-written beyond the fact that he was in it. But, yeah, it was a fun dynamic. I think they had good chemistry. He does a little walk of shame, which made me laugh quite hard.
I have seen.
It was quite enjoyable. It was just
a walk with boots in hand.
It was just nice. Like, I don't know. I was worried that it would ruin the character, and like they definitely did change him and make him like, you know, goofier for the show. But I didn't feel at all ruined. I was just like, I like this. Yeah. Like
this I can get behind.
What I want in his own show for them to maybe like, you know, get a little darker again, dive a little more deeply into the character. Yeah. But especially for this like silly kind of cameo and this like sitcom type show, it was kind of delightful. And it was just great to see him again. It was.
Oh, amazing. He is one of my favorite MCU characters of all time.
Isn't he just? And and they also imply not that this is a surprise, that Cox is very good in bed. So
Cox uses that Cox.
there we go.
He uses those Cox.
We did it. Oh, never mind. We definitely didn't do
it. Goddamn, we just unveiled something very scary.
Also, do you know what happens in the finale of She-Hulk?
I did not. Please spoil.
Okay.
I probably won't watch.
Basically, she the whole show culminates in this kind of like lame way where it's like there's like multiple Hulks and then Abominations there and whatever, and then she's like, this is terrible, and she like breaks the fourth wall and she goes to like Marvel Studios and talks to like a computer that like creates all the Marvel movies, and they kind of have some it's a bit out there. It's a I don't know, like I kind of liked what they were going for, and it's sort of different. I was watching, I was thinking like, I think the average person watching this might be like, this kind of jumped the shark a bit, but I don't know, I thought it was a little bit of a fun turn on it.
But for an above average person,
but for a man with a super high IQ, I actually don't know what my IQ is, but I'm assuming it's higher than the average Disney Plus viewer. But
massive shitting on every Disney Plus viewer.
But yeah, it was sort of, I don't know, they had some that was in which they kind of implied also that Matt Murdock got that schmeat. That's what the computer says. Yes, we gave Matt
She
Murdock
walks in
that
talking
schmeat.
about every Marvel movie. She's like, pause. Did you know Matt Murdock straight schmeating?
She was like, yes, I do actually.
Yes, he showed me his Daredevil.
There was a pretty good, like, because they do a lot of sort of like self-aware MCU like rips or whatever, and there was one where she was like, can we have like more Matt Murdock in the finale? A woman has needs, and the computer's like, yes, we have ignored those in the past. And I did enjoy that. But yeah, I don't know, She-Hulk, a surprising dub from us making that video where it said looks mid in the thumbnail. An uncharacteristic change of heart. A dub.
This mid has been morphed into a dub.
Actual trash. That's what we should have titled this podcast. Welcome back to Actual Trash. Literal garbage.
Welcome back to the worst thing you'll hear today.
Genuinely, us saying the mid is morphed into a dub is probably the worst thing a lot of people will hear today. Of the like 150 people who hear this, that'll be the worst. I think we do 2 quick pieces of newsums, because these are the only kind of interesting things of the week. First of all, it's your boy, Harrison Ford. He's back, baby.
Speaking of terrible things.
Speaking of the worst thing you'll hear today.
Your boy, Harrison Ford.
He's back, and he's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He is joining as a rare recast, although, the actor passed away, so it's not really a recast. Do you remember General Ross from The Incredible Hulk and, Civil War and all that stuff? Harrison Ford, he's in. That's what Harrison says in the bedroom Cox style. Harrison Ford, he's in.
What Harrison Ford says whenever he walks into a room. Anyways, Harrison Ford.
When Harrison Ford exits a room, get off my plane. I don't know. I was trying to think of a Harrison Ford quote. I didn't have anything good. Anyway, so he's gonna be.
When Harrison Ford gets told he's loved by someone, I know.
See, that was a good one. That was a classic. So he's gonna be General Ross, who will presumably be turning into the Red Hulk. So are you excited to see a CGI mustachioed Red Ford? Big muscles.
I mean,
ready for
that honestly sounds kind of erotic and amazing. So absolutely.
For a half-naked, super muscular Ford. Yummy. Get in my tummy.
Big yummers?
I guess it's kind of fun to see Harrison in the MCU. It's kind of funny. They were just like, we need someone else who's old and white. Harrison. You're the man for the job. That's all the letter said when they sent it to him. We need sign.
We need someone who's old and white. Harrison.
There's just a giant gap between the words.
Harrison is written in like font 50.
It's a warning. He flips the page. It's just his name.
If you're not careful, you will become the Red Hulk.
I feel like he unfurls it like a parchment. It's just Harrison written hundreds of times. He knows it's his time. Anyway, I mean, yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, Harrison kind of phones in some of his movie roles these days, but he's good in some stuff sometimes still. Like he, in Blade Runner, he put in an effort. Anyway, I love the Harrison, so cool. And final piece of news, we have to talk about. I can't even fucking think of a quote from it. Anyway, the Creed 3 trailer, aka Threed.
Threed. aka Threed. You out? Since when?
Then maybe you just have to fight him. Yeah.
That's Creed's response. Maybe you just have to fight him. Yeah.
Obviously, Creed 1 and Creed 2, two of my favorite movies of all time, especially Creed 1. So I was very excited for this. I have seen those movies dozens of times. And the first time I watched it, and I think this kind of happens whenever you're really excited for something, I was sort of like looking for things to not like. I was kind of nitpicking it a bit, and I was sort of like, it looks kind of like a different style. It looks like a little bit cheaper maybe. And I was like, does Michael B know what he's doing behind the camera? And
has Michael B been keeping up with those boxing lessons of his? Because if not, I can step in.
But then embarrassingly enough, I have watched it probably like 30 times since then. I don't know. I'm very excited. It looks kind of great fairness, now.
It does look very enjoyable. I won't lie.
So, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. It's a different, because the first two Creed movies have been it's very good. They have been kind of like similar to the Rocky thing. And this one seems like a completely new direction of taking the franchise, and I like it.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I was, as some may remember, our initial concerns were that Sylvester Stallone's not coming back, and then it's a situation where a franchise just gets drawn out, and actors start dropping off. It starts feeling less special, and again, there's a little bit, especially if you're looking at it as in relation to the others, there's a little bit of a missing presence of Stallone. But also, if you think about it as a story, it does work for this franchise because Rocky got his he's gotten 50 happy endings, but he got sort of the ultimate not like that.
Bet he has. King.
Rocky, he's been jerked off so many times. It's great.
Every time Rocky gets a massage, he's happy when he leaves.
But the last one, he reunites with his son, and it's Rocky's kind of, and his soul story is done at the end of the movie. He's also it's your time, and then they fist pump. If you're making a connection to he reunites with his son and the happy endings thing, I am disgusted and I hate you.
I don't know. I'm just imagining every single scenario of Rocky getting a happy ending. In the 50 different ways it can happen.
Yeah, that's so many happy endings. It's such a specific thing to get 50 times. But anyway. And then also because the first two Creed movies, it's a little bit, this might be a weird metaphor to make or comparison, because the last one is very franchise tied anyway, but a little bit with the Spider-Man movies, the MCU ones, where the first two are very heavily tied to Iron Man and Tony Stark and all that stuff, and now we're finally kind of starting to move away from that a little bit. In the same sense, I love the Rocky Creed dynamic, but then I also, if they're going to keep making these, I guess branching out and doing his own thing, now that they've set up him and his, he's as compelling a character in my opinion as Rocky. I think that's cool, and Jonathan Majors looks like a cool bad guy. It is very
he does
Rocky 3, Clubber Lang got,
it is very Mr. T.
Comes out of prison, but they have that connection. Again, I think when I first watched it, that's what I didn't really like. I was this feels the Fast and Furious movies, they keep going and by the way, I had a brother the whole time, and by the way, I had this. It feels like one of those kind of franchise things where it's oh, I knew this guy as a kid, and it's but also,
yeah, I guess, but at the same time, I feel taking the Mr. T thing, I think that story, because I do see the similarities, as you say, but there hasn't been, apart from the Drago kind of thing, there hasn't been that many things where it's oh yeah, I knew this guy, and now I'm fighting him. It is kind of like a new take that you're fighting someone you used to be close to, isn't it? In the Creed franchise.
Yeah, for Creed, yeah. I mean, I guess someone you used to be close to. Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I think it was more like the sort of in the trailer. It can feel kind of shoehorned in, and it could also be like the editing of the dialogue, where it's like, "Oh, Damien, like we were like brothers," and it's like, why have we never heard of him before then? But I think there's a way to like do that in the film, and you're right, yeah. That's the thing. Also, I was gonna say for the Rocky films, which are so, kind of cheesy and over the top and not very realistic, you want to have you don't want to have every movie be like, oh hey, it's just a guy. And like, okay, let's do this. Like, you want to have some kind of stakes in the story.
Yeah.
So it should be cool. I like the part where he's like, "You threatening me?" and they kind of square up, and it looks like they're about to kiss. I thought that was good.
You threatening me? Yeah.
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 Training montage looking pretty cool out in the forest. That's kind of cool out in the California kind of forest.
Kind of nice.
Cool to see his like. I don't know, just as someone who loves these movies, like, because he had his daughter in the last movie, and now she's, like, a bit grown up, and he's, like, teaching her how to box and stuff. I'm like, the feels. Also, he will be having a rematch with pretty Ricky Conlon in this movie. If you remember the bad guy from the first Creed film.
Yes.
Played by real-life boxer Tony Bellew, because that's how I was just like, wait a minute, is that my man Tony Bellew? And it is, in fact, Tony Bellew. So I think that'll probably be, like, the opening of the movie. It'll be like, and he avenges his only loss, or whatever, They kind of did that in the last one as well, where he fought Andre Ward again at the start. Yeah. But yeah, and Canelo's in it, so cool. I don't know if you know Canelo, boxer.
I mean, I know of him, but yeah,
he's in it.
Not too much.
Anyway, initially I was like,
no return for Big Nasty though.
There is, not in the trailer, but he's in the credits. In the credits it says Florian Montanou or whatever. So I'm feeling a little bit of a, hey, like I'm having to fight this big scary muscle guy. If only I knew there was some other muscle guy who could help me spar or something. Goes out, trains with Big Nasty. I feel like that's the direction we're going, and I'm loving the sound of that.
That does not sound bad. Are they gonna go back to Russia and train with Big Nasty?
And change in front of each other? You know what?
And just get naked.
It's not impossible. I'm kind of just feeling. I mean, I'm not saying it'll be like a Rocky and Apollo exact kind of friendship, but like a begrudging respect friendship. Ooh. I'm loving the sound of that. Because there is that, I don't know if you've seen it, there's that deleted scene from Creed 2 where after the final fight, they like meet in the locker room and Adonis kind of gives him a pep talk. He's like, you gotta know you're more than one fight. And I'm like, why'd you delete this from the movie? It fucking ties the whole thing together. But anyway. So yeah.
This is fucking beautiful.
Creed 3 and Jonathan Majors looking A, swole. B,
swole-normous.
Like a compelling character. I'm liking him.
After his last performance, which was that I saw at least was Loki.
That was what we would call a rare Jonathan Majors L. Although actually his last performance was in The Harder They Fall, which was very good, to be fair.
Ooh,
so
that is true.
Let's put some respect on his name. But anyway, good stuff. Oh shit. Do you want to watch very quickly the Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer that just came out, and then we can throw that in for the topicalness?
Absolutely.
Should we do this very quickly? All right, let's just watch this real quick.
Ant-Man. I see.
All right. Okay.
Well, major crossover, Mayors.
Yeah. Well, so we got two Majors trailers this week. Okay. First of all, a very surprising Murray appearance.
Venkman out of nowhere.
Just Venkmified. Well, I love the use of the Elton John song. That's very
Elton John song, very cool. Good.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It looks more interesting than the last two Ant-Man movies. I'll give it that.
Yeah. In fairness, that's not very difficult. Two very mid Marvel movies, but this one, this looks like large scale or very small scale, some could say.
So good.
But like large scale, kind of like more of an epic Ant-Man movie rather than like more of a fight in a lab with some bald dude.
Fucking Walton Goggins. I mean, it kind of has like that Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness quality to it, which might be good. I don't know. Like, I see all this, like, crazy stuff, and I sort of go, like, oh, yeah, it's kind of like the thing we just saw. But it still looks kind of interesting. I think also there's a little Easter egg just on the first viewing. I think there might be something in that world of Shang-Chi's, like, rings or whatever. Because remember at the end of Shang-Chi, they're like... Yeah, they're like, this is from another whatever, and you're like, I wonder where that'll be, and it looks like,
I wonder where it'll be.
Probably will be in this. I like the little nutty Scott Lang, Ant-Man type opening, just a little bit of, so it looks like it'll be a bit of the classic Ant-Man style comedy stuff, and then they head off for like a little adventure, in the quantum realm.
This guy.
Yeah, looks pretty cool. I also am much more liking this vibe for Kang than the fucking Jim Carrey performance we saw in Loki, which is still to this day the worst thing that's ever happened in the MCU. Whoever told Jonathan Majors to do that should be fired and thrown into a volcano. It was.
What if it was Stan Lee?
Fuck. Imagine that. Stan just wanders onto set. He's like, you know what? Do it. Go fucking nuts with it, Jonathan. Jonathan obliges. Yeah, no, looks pretty cool.
Looks quite cool, yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a nutty Murray. Yeah, some cool visuals as well. Like the visual effects look pretty great. I'm here for it. And it looks, yeah, that's the thing. It looks like kind of weirder, more out there, which we've talked about how maybe we're getting a little bit too much of this, like, interdimensional whatever that is getting a little convoluted with the MCU, but also I would rather have this, I think, than another like Ant-Man and the Wasp sitch.
I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, good stuff. That's the news for this week. There are some other things, and of course, hopefully we will be able to cover Black Adam and maybe House of the Dragon next week and maybe some other news, but for now, it's of course time for
Timecodes.
Also, I am so fucking hungry. It's wild.
Me too. I am starving.
Anyway, from ESPN, Tom Cruise has offered to take Lewis Hamilton for a ride in his P-51 Mustang plane. So, I don't know if you're familiar with Lewis Hamilton. I believe he is a race car
big Formula
driver.
1 guy?
Yeah. He drives them race cars. Anyway, him and Cruise are apparently cool because there's this picture of them being absolute bros. And apparently he offered to take him up in his plane, and he's like, I would love to. He apparently also said somewhere in this article, I think I saw, that he's like, yeah, I saw he did it with James Corden or something. And I'm like, no one should want to do anything that James Corden has done.
I did, yeah, I mean, in fairness, I did see that video. Very enjoyable. Did I send that video?
You did send it to me. It was very nutty. Although, didn't James Corden do something bad recently? Didn't he say something about...
So there's something about, like, him being rude to waiters and stuff like that at a restaurant?
Anyway.
I think.
Well... Boo. Anyway, cool. That'd be what a team up that would be between Cruise and this guy that I barely know. Then, for the announcements and such, we're going to read some comments or very quickums. Joe C. says, this might have been the hardest I've laughed in a while. BHL laughing when Freddie was telling his grandparent story is so darkly funny that I cried of laughter. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. And ZJ says same. So, good things can come of funeral mistakes. ZJ says, I did hear there were a lot of single MILFs on Mars. That's probably why they made Mars Needs MILFs, the classic film.
Classic film. Daniel
says, after 4 months, we finally have the conclusion. Let's go. P.S. BHO laughing about someone's funeral. What a joke. I have no defense. And Movie Guy says, a lot has changed over the last 5 years, but me still being excited every time a new pod drops is still the same. Haven't laughed this hard in a while. Thank you, Movie Guy. That's so sweet. Yeah, well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed. I did think that was a fun one. The Disney movies conclusion. We're going to see if the pod fan page has posted anything. One of two, I should add. They have not. All right. It is what it is. There's some fun stories there, so you can follow. And also, real quick, just an announcement we got to throw in here. Cian, the guy who runs the fan page, met Charlie Cox.
Man, how?
Life isn't fair.
How? God, man's living the dream.
He apparently, I don't know how much detail you want me to go into, but he just let us know that he has shaken the hand of Charlie Cox.
God.
So, congratulations, Cian, on achieving more in your life than we ever have or will until we shake the hand of Charlie Cox.
Which hopefully will happen very soon.
Anyway, hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, If you're listening on YouTube, drop a like, subscribe, hit the bell button, leave a comment down below what you thought of the episode and what you thought of the things we talked about. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star rating, hit the follow button, leave a nice review, tell everyone you know until they hate you about the pod. Don't do that, but do it also, maybe. You can find me on YouTube, BHL Hudson, Instagram, Twitter, BHL_Hudson. You can email the pod at bhlhudsonvids@gmail.com. I'm also on TikTok, BHL Hudson, and Letterboxd at RealBHLHudson.
You can find me on Twitter at FTK_.sniper. You can find me on Instagram at Fidalgard. You can find me on Letterboxd at FTK_Thwilms. And I'm also on YouTube at FTK. Actually, yeah, at FTK Space Gaming.
I feel like we definitely gave some people like a heart attack with how fast we suddenly started talking right at the end there. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Cockschmeat.
Horrible combination of words for what ultimately is a beautiful image.